Hello everyone and welcome to my webinar on how to divorce a missing spouse and save thousands of dollars. I want to thank each of you for being here. My name is Art Warren. I'm a Texas divorce attorney and I help people just like you to do their own uncontested divorce. I run a website called DIYTexasDivorce.com, otherwise known as Do It Yourself Texas Divorce. On this website, what I do is I give you all the tools, I give you the forms, I provide you with video tutorials, I provide you with the process on how to get a divorce and do it on your own. But this evening, I'm going to be showing you how to do a divorce where your spouse is missing or you haven't seen them for a long period of time. Before I do that, I want to make sure that you are a good candidate to listen and consume this content. If you've been married for a period of time and you haven't talked to your spouse or seen your spouse, or you just have no idea where they're located, then this webinar would be for you. On the other hand, if you've been separated from your spouse, but you have small children under the age of 18, for example, this would not be a good webinar for you. Or perhaps you are a person who's separated from your spouse and you just don't want to have any contact with them. For whatever reasons, you just prefer not to deal with them and you'd like to just kind of slide into court and maybe get a divorce without them knowing. This is not going to be the right webinar for you. And one last category, if you are from another state or you live in another state and you want to use the procedure and the processes that I'm going to share with you this evening, this is not the right webinar for you. And one last thing, before we get started, I want to share with you, I want you to stick around to the end of the webinar. I've got a special offer that I'm going to be making you with regard to my services and doing a divorce for you. So I want to go ahead and get started on the content. So you might want to get out a pen and paper and take some notes because I'm going to be providing you with a lot of content, a lot of information, and it's going to be a lot for you to remember later on when you go to do your own divorce. So the first thing I want to say is in the United States and in Texas, we have a two-party judicial system. What I'm saying is basically you have a criminal court and you have a civil court. In the civil courts is where divorce cases are handled. So we're going to be on the civil side of things. And in order to prosecute a divorce, you have to have at least two parties. You're going to have a petitioner, which is going to be you, presumably, and you're going to have the respondent. And anytime you file a lawsuit in a civil court in Texas or in any other state, you have to give the person what we call notice. And that's one of the things that we're going to work very hard at throughout this divorce process is giving the other party notice. Because at the end of the day, you want the judge to allow you to move forward, but the judge is going to want to know that you gave your respondent every opportunity to know that you were suing them for divorce. When you are filing a divorce, you are basically filing a lawsuit. And in order to do that, you have to have a document. We call them pleadings. The pleading that you use in Texas is called the original petition for divorce. Let me show you exactly what that document looks like. I think it would be a good opportunity for me to show you that now. So this is a petition for divorce. At the top of the petition, you have what we call the style of the case. We'll have the petitioner's name here and the respondent's name here. And over here we have the court and the county. Now, before you can file a lawsuit, okay, or a divorce in Texas, you have to have what they call residency. And I want to explain to you what residency is. So in Texas, residency has two components. It's a two-part test. The first component that you have to satisfy is that you have to have been a resident in Texas at least 6 months prior to filing your petition. Okay, that's pretty simple, straightforward. But the second part can get a little tricky. You have to have been a resident in the county in which you are going to be filing for at least 90 days. And if you don't meet that requirement, then you need to wait until you can file. So let me give you an example of a recent client. He came to me. He's a military guy. He lived in San Antonio. Him and his wife had recently separated and she moved to Iowa. He moved to Trinity County. And he came to me and he said, look, I want to get a divorce. She's in Iowa. I'm in Trinity County. And I asked him, well, how long have you been there? And he said, well, 60 days. I said to him, well, we won't be able to file there in Trinity unless you wait another 30 days. I didn't think he should do that because she was in Iowa and she could file a divorce there. And I told him, I don't know what the residency requirements are in Iowa, but if she's able to file there in Iowa, you're going to be forced to deal with your divorce in Iowa rather than in Texas. So he took my advice, which is to file in Bexar County where they were living, and we got his divorce filed. So that's an example of someone who didn't meet residency requirements, but had lived here in Texas for at least 6 months prior to filing his divorce. Okay, so after we know that we've met the residency requirements, it's time to go ahead and file our petition. But before you do that, I want you to make a phone call over to the district clerk's office in your county. And what I want you to do is go to Google and take the county's name. So for example, if you lived in Bexar County, you say Bexar County district clerk's phone number. Get that phone number, and then you call and you ask the person on the other line, you tell them, look, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about filing a divorce. First question you want to ask is, how much does it cost to file a divorce in your county and with no children? And it's going to be, in excess of $300. The next question you want to ask is, will I be filing in a district court or a county court in law, a county court of law? And let me just give you a little rule of thumb. If it's a large county, it's going to be a district court. If it's a small rural county, it's probably going to be a county court of law. And even mid-sized counties, it's probably going to be a district court. But there are some counties that are small to rural that have hybrids. They will have a district court, and they will also have a county court of law. And depending on where you are in the rotation will determine if you will land in the district court or you're going to land in the county court of law. And I'll show you how to fill out the pleadings for that situation. But for now, you ask that question, and whatever they tell you, that's what you want to use when you put together your petition. So the next question you want to ask is, does your county require me to have a standing order? Do I need to file a standing order when I file my petition? And if the answer is no, then you can get off the phone and start working on your petition. But if the answer is yes, there's still some more questions you need to ask. So the next question you want to ask is, they say yes, then you ask, where can I find the standing order? Is it on your website or somewhere like that? And the answer is probably going to be yes. And then you can go to the website and find it after you finish the phone call. But the next question after that, because this is very important, I want you to ask, do I have to file my standing order as one document with my petition, all as one document, or can they be separate, two separate documents? Because I can tell you from experience that if you don't file the standing order according to their procedure, they're going to reject it. Bexar County happened to be one of those counties in which they have a standing order and you have to make it one document. So you'll scan both documents in and make it one complete document. Otherwise, if they say they don't care or it doesn't really matter, then you can file the petition and the standing order separately. So that's what you want to ask. And after that, you're free to get off the phone and start working on your petition. Now I want to show you, I'm going to go over here to my computer and I want to show you what the different types of style of the case looks like with different types of courts, okay? So as you saw earlier, this was a district court. So this is district court here. And incidentally, once you file your petition, you will get the county number, and of course you will get the number of the court that you will be filing in. So let me show you county court of law. This is what it would look like. So if they tell you it's a county court of law, you want to draft your petition to look like this, county court of law. And then if it's a hybrid, if they say, well, we don't know, let's see here. You want to go ahead and type in the district court and then also in the county court of law, and you put district court here and the county court of law number here. So once you file it and they determine if it's going to be a family court or, a district court or a county court of law, all subsequent documents, every document that you file for your case after that will fall into whatever court it was in. If it was a county court of law, then all your pleadings from that point on will have county court of law. There's no need to put district court on it at that point. We only do that at the beginning because we don't know exactly what court it will be falling into. Now I want to show you what a standing order looks like, so you'll have some idea what that looks like. So what I have here on my screen is a standing order for Bexar County. And all it is a document that the judges have gotten together and put together, and you will take this document and you would merge it in with your petition. So that's the process. But this is what a standing order looks like. And at the end, you'll have the judge's signature. Okay, so now once you have found that information out, it's time to go ahead and start completing your original petition for divorce. Now, when you fill this out, when you come to number 5, what you see, you're going to need to put some type of address here, because you are going to need to have the process server or the constable, if that's who you use, or the sheriff, to go out and serve your petition, or attempt to serve your petition to your spouse. As I said in the beginning of this, we have to prove to the court that we made efforts to locate our spouse. The first effort is going to be trying to serve them at an address that you knew that they were at, or potentially knew that they were at, or some address that you found for them. So I want you to do that first. And then you come on down here to the prayer area. If you're going to be doing this electronically, you can do it just like this. Put a /s and your name, and that'll suffice for an electronic filing. Now, the next document you're going to need to file with your petition is going to be a request for service. You are going to request that the district clerk prepares a citation, which is a document that they prepare, and it goes in the front of your petition. Okay, and that's what the constable or your process server will use to go and deliver your petition to your spouse, or attempt to deliver it to them. What I have here on the screen now, I'm going to show you what it looks like, is a example of what Harris County uses. And most counties, they have their own, or they have some generic ones, and all you do is just figure out where it is on their website, get it, fill it out completely, and you pay normally it's about $8 for them to issue the citation. So just ask the clerk, where can I find the citation, when you get them on the phone, when you're asking them the other questions about cost of filing the divorce, and they'll tell you exactly where to get it. So that's what I want you to do. But you'll take this document, fill it out, attach it to your petition. You'll take it, file it, and let the process server go out and attempt to locate your spouse. And when it comes back and they're not there, what's going to happen is that process server should provide you with an affidavit where they attempted to find your spouse and they couldn't, and that should go in the file. So if they give it back to you, they email it to you, then you want to upload that to the file, or if you're doing this physically, going to the courthouse, you want to file that with the court and then your file, because you want the judge to know that you attempted to locate your spouse at that address and they were not there. Now we've got to take the next step. So now we've got to put forth some effort to locate your spouse. All right. So presumably you've had a phone number that you used to have for your spouse. Call that number, see if you can get a hold to them. If you can't get a hold to them, maybe you had an old email. Email them, send them an email, see if they respond. Tell them you're trying to get a divorce. But you at least got to start with the basics. After that, what you want to do is maybe contact old friends or family members. If you're married to this person, presumably you know their family members. Locate them, see if you can find out where is your spouse. If you're not successful with that, then go on to social media. Go to Facebook, see if you can locate them on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I probably don't use Snapchat anymore. What's the new one? TikTok, I think is what it's called. Perhaps if they're a professional person, then you go to LinkedIn. Look on LinkedIn, see if you see them on there. Now, after that, what I want you to do is send a letter to the post office to that address, and have the post office to correct the address. Maybe they have a forwarding address for your spouse. So send that. And while you're doing all of this, by the way, I want you to take very good notes. I want you to maybe have a spreadsheet or something and put the date that you sent these items and what was it that you used, whether you used Facebook. So you put the date you looked on Facebook and so on and so forth, the date you sent a letter and all these different things. But the key is to be organized and make sure that you track this stuff, because later you may have to present this to the court and you want to show them that you made a good faith effort. Then what I would do is I would contact this old, my spouse's old employer. Presumably you knew where they worked. Contact the old employer. See if they still work there. If they don't, do they know where they went to work after, they left? If you don't have any luck there, then what I want you to do is go to the internet and find one of those people search websites where you can locate people and pay the fee and see if you can find them there. Maybe they provide you with an address. You can check county records. Look for property records. Look in the property records. See if you you see something. And in addition to that, what I would do is I would look for, surrounding counties as well. So if you're in Harris County, you might want to try Brazoria, Fort Bend, Montgomery, etc., Galveston County. But you want to also look at the different counties. Check the voting records. See if they have any listing of your spouse in the voting records. Check the Bureau of Vital Statistics. Maybe they've died. We've had COVID. Check with the military if they have record of them being in the military. I would also check the Texas Department of Corrections. See if this person maybe they've gone to prison or something. But I want you to use all these different sources and ways of contacting them. Once you have exhausted all of those different ways of getting in contact with them, and then any others, by the way, so feel free to add to this list that I provided you. But after you've done that, now you're in position to provide the court with an affidavit telling the court, listen, I have tried to find this person and I can't find him, Your Honor, and I'd like for you to allow me to use a publication for me to try and serve them through publication, and that would be through a newspaper or something of that sort. So you will ask the court for permission. Once the court gives you permission to do that, then you will publish your divorce in a newspaper, in a local newspaper. I'm not sure what the cost of that will cost, but there's going to be some cost involved. And then that newspaper will publish your petition in the newspaper. Generally speaking, they've got about 21, 22 days, and that's what the normal period of time is on a citation. But I want you to give them at least 30. So after 30 days, if you don't hear from them, there's no response, then, only then, do you go and you move to the next level, which is to draft your decree, and you call the coordinator at the court and find out when you can come and go before the judge and provide the court with your decree and get a divorce. And that's pretty much the process. So once you've gone through all those different steps, you are ready to go before the judge. And incidentally, depending on the court and the judge may be the one to ask you questions when you come in, or you may have your own testimony where you'll provide the court. The court may say, go ahead and prove up your petition, and then what they're asking is for you to come in and say you were married to John Doe, Jane Doe on this date for this period of time, and we stopped living together on this date, and I've used all these different sources and couldn't find them, and so on and so forth. But just a long list of testimony that you're going to provide, so that the judge will be comfortable with the fact that you've exhausted all sources and that you've done everything that you possibly could to give your spouse notice that you were filing for divorce. And that is the way you file a divorce when your spouse is missing. So I hope that this information has been helpful for you, and that you will go out and you feel empowered and go out and get a divorce.